Hi students, this is Professor Campbell. Just doing a check-in for the beginning of our third week of this 8-week semester. As you can see, the weather is getting a little bit cooler. We have daylight savings time and even shorter daylight hours, so hope you're all adjusting to that okay. Wanted to let you know some announcements and also some things that we'll be covering this week. In terms of content, you'll see that there are two chapters, Chapter 3 and 4, in the Brand's textbook that we'll be going over. One of the prominent themes is the Atlantic slave trade and the development of racism. We also see the development of the British North American colonies, in particular the Massachusetts Bay Colony with the Puritans, and the Jamestown and Virginia colony. In the next chapter, we see the further growth of these colonies, how they are interacting with Native Americans, often through bloody war. We see cultural and intellectual movements in the colonies, including the Enlightenment philosophers and also religious awakenings, the First Great Awakening being the most prominent one. And finally, a lot of immigration. It's not just the British colonies, of course, that we're concerned with. There are also French and Spanish colonies that are in the mix. Wanted to make an announcement about portfolios, your e-portfolios. You may have the same assignment or almost the same assignment in other class, but I want to make sure that students are not double dipping, so to speak, which means that if you're doing one e-portfolio for a political science class, we want to make sure that you're not using that very same portfolio for your history class. In other words, make two separate e-portfolios even if they have somewhat the same assignment in both of those classes. Also, just reminding people again, I've made quite a few announcements about this, but still a few people have not posted their profile pic, their avatars, and that's really a necessary requirement for this online class. And then finally, I was looking at some of the goals that people had for this class, and again, as I commented in your grades, I think a lot of you guys have very idealistic and ambitious goals, which is great. A few people had a very common goal that I want to touch upon, and that is that they wanted to get an A in this class or other classes. And my own personal view about that as an educator is that on the one hand it does make sense, so you can't be blamed if that is your goal. You want to get good grades and units and care about your GPA and whatnot. However, I think there's a tendency among many of our students, and this is pretty much nationwide, so it's not just you personally, but the emphasis is to have too much of an emphasis on the overall grade, and I would encourage you to have a more idealistic approach to your education, which is that it's about the spread of ideas, acquiring skills, having a basis for good citizenship, improving your communication skills, and whatnot. Those are the things that you should really be after, and then hopefully the grades will come along with that. So that's my own 2 cents. I hope everything is going well. As always, I'm happy to answer questions about the lecture content or anything else related to the course, and I look forward to working more with you. Okay, take care. Bye.